New tonight at 10, continued discussions tonight over a career and technical education building in Macomb. The school district has been in the planning stages for close to a year now. WGEM's Dylan Smith was at tonight's special school board meeting and has the latest.
Daniel, headway made tonight as to the location of this proposed career and technical education building. It can either be built right here at the high school, built by the Macomb School District, or built at Spoon River College by Spoon River College. The school board is weighing the pros and cons of both options. Superintendent Patrick Toomey told the board tonight his primary concern with having the CTE center at Spoon River is the travel time it would take for students to get there. He estimates a full class period of travel time could be missed, in which case he says it's possible to adjust graduation requirements. The state requires a minimum of 16 credit hours, and Macomb High currently requires 24.
That gives us a whole range of possibilities for flexibility. Now, we would have no interest in dropping clear down to that 16th century range because we know kids need a good breadth of experiences, whether in high school. So we'd only want to reduce it by the amount necessary to put that student on a successful plan to completion for their career and technical education certifications.
Toomey says if they enter into an agreement with Spoon River, that would ease the financial burden as well as the duty of hiring instructors and an administrator. Just today, Toomey says he spoke to the Spoon River College president about the idea of an intergovernmental agreement. In Macomb, Dylan Smith, WGEM News.
All right, thanks, Dylan. And Toomey says he is pushing an aggressive timeline. Best case scenario, construction starts fall of 2027 and is open for classes by the fall of 2028.